Hey Vikings fans, Tyler here to talk to you about Pick and Shovelware and pickandshovelware.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of fun, different Minnesota sports clothing items and apparel options. We got a deal going with them right now where if you buy whatever you want, enter the promo code Bleeding Purple, all one word, and you will get free shipping. That is promo code Bleeding Purple, pickandshovelware.com. Make sure you go ahead and check it out. Okay, let's start the show. Welcome in to Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. My name is Tyler Haig, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Adam Patrick. Heyo.
What's up?
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good day.
Pretty good day?
Had a pretty good weekend.
It's a pretty cool shirt you're wearing there.
Yeah. Oh, you notice?
Is that adding insult to...
Just gonna stretch.
insult to a controversial loss? Of course. We should say out loud for the people just listening. He's wearing his Diggs sideline touchdown, unbelievable shirt. You just heard it. We lied, by the way. I realized as I was playing that through we told everybody that this was not going to be here this episode.
We made a conscious decision to run it one more time, just to add, a little more misery to the Saints today on Monday.
Definitely.
Because they're having a pretty good day.
They're having a real tough time down there today. I saw their owner was going to make sure that this never happens to a fan base.
Should put a statement out.
Give me a bleep and break. And we're up here, and I guess you're over there, but we as Vikings Nation are here chuckling to ourselves, sighing and shaking our heads because you know nothing of pain, New Orleans Saints. Specifically, the city of New Orleans, they probably have a little bit.
Well, for the Saints to cry wolf or whatever when.
Oh my God.
What happened in 2009 when the Vikings played the Saints and Brett Favre's ankles got broken in half?
You know what happened, Adam, was they were actually running a pay for injury scheme. It was a bounty. Was what it was. It was a bounty on our quarterback, and they investigated it. And actually, that head coach, who was so disappointed that they blew the call, he actually was suspended for an entire season. Adam, it was they wouldn't even let him coach for a full year because it was that egregious of a rules violation.
It's like karma actually exists.
It's very interesting how several years. Just no recollection of that, or any recollection of this as a, like you said, karma. Interesting. Saints.
Yeah.
How does that feel, New Orleans Saints? How does that feel?
Well,
I don't know.
Was it Realistic Randy? He wrote something for the Viking Age today where he said it was poetic justice for the Saints to lose, and they basically since 2009 when they sold their soul to beat the Vikings, that they've suffered some pretty serious playoff heartbreak since then. You got the beast mode game at the Minneapolis Miracle, and then this year with the phantom, non-pass interference call, which, affected the game. But Drew Brees also threw an interception in overtime. So let's not, make it seem like the pass interference is the reason why the Saints lost.
Yes, and this to me is like one of the most irritating, frustrating arguments that football fans make is it could all have been decided by this one play. No, it did not. One play never decides a football game.
You can even look at the other game, the AFC Championship, the Chiefs and the Patriots, when the Patriots scored with like 40 seconds to go. People were like, "Oh, the Chiefs are done," and then they went down the field and tied it up with a field goal. And just because the Saints score with like a minute to go doesn't mean the Rams, with a great offense, can't march down the field and tie the game either. So,
It just, I hate that revisionist history stuff, because it's so easy to say, well, if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't happen, and it's like, come on.
We're both like that. Like, don't let it come down to the officials. Make more plays. That's just it. It's good. Finally, it affects some things, but it's not the big reason why a team wins or loses a game.
No. Ever. Literally the only time you can say that about a play in a football game is if it is the last play of the football game. That's literally the only time you can say it. Because like the Minneapolis Miracle, okay, yeah, that changed the game. If you do that differently, okay, yes, the outcome changes. But any other time that you're like Gary Anderson, they had so many chances to win that game afterwards. Like they were like
they were up by 7.
That's what I'm saying. They took a knee at the end of regulation, like over and over and over and over and over. I digress. Does this, as the Saints, like we talked a little bit about the karma and 2009 and et cetera, does this feel better? Does this heal? Heal is maybe the wrong word here. But does this maybe lift some of the pain from 2009? The Saints losing the way they have been? I'm enjoying it, for sure. Definitely.
I'm enjoying all the Saints players, like, and the fans, like, starting change.org petitions for the team to replay the NFC Championship because it's just not fair.
Did you see that is actually a thing in the rule book that can actually happen?
Yeah, that's not going to happen because it's not like the Rams won because of that play.
They didn't. Exactly.
It's just not. And then there were other plays in that game that the Saints didn't get called. The Saints didn't get called for a bunch of plays. So it wasn't just that.
No, it was not just that.
Like in the Vikings, when the Vikings lost to the Saints, it was because they were getting killed by the Saints defense. It was also because they fumbled 5 times and they had
Adrian Peterson fumbled the ball within the 5.
Favre threw the interception. So it was a bunch of things.
Yes. It's always a bunch of things.
The Gary Anderson game, he missed a field goal, but he also doesn't play defense, and their defense gave up a long drive for the Falcons to tie the game. So
you could do that for every play. And this kind of brings me into the penalties challenging let's ignore Saints fans for a hot minute, because I think they want to replay the game, and that ain't happening. But the normal rest of the world is talking about, should we be able to review plays like this so that egregious, obvious penalties, like the one that was missed, don't happen, and you can correct that. Because we can say whatever we want about how the game ends and whether that's the reason that happened, blah, 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 but I think it's safe to say, and we can both say, that was a penalty, and it wasn't called. Where are you at with the, I guess, review in general, and do you want to expand it to be able to do these kinds of plays? Because it's always the argument is, well, then everything's going to be a challenge. You can challenge every play.
Opens a box of worms.
Yeah, but if you only give the coaches 3 challenges still, then basically you're
not saying every penalty is reviewable. I think, maybe they should consider the major penalties, like defensive pass interference, like roughing the passer, like some of those, like roughing the kicker, punter, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or, allow one of those, like each team to have 1 challenge for those, and then maybe even just restrict it to the final 2 minutes of a game. Let the refs be able to review their calls. Because, they're not going to review every flag. They're not going to review holding or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And that, I think, is the easy argument is, well, there's holding on every play, basically. So are you going to allow a coach 3 turns to just take a play away?
I think the thing would be you can review penalties if they're called, but if they're not called,
you can't review it.
Yeah. So if there's a flag and you dispute it, then yeah, challenge it. But like if it was on Sunday and no flag was thrown, then sorry, you can't challenge it.
And that's where I'm at, is I don't know how you, no matter what kind of review system you put in place, I don't know how you are going to be able to alleviate a situation like this, where a missed call can be overturned.
I think it's something they should try, maybe like in the preseason, just to see how it goes. Because it was in the Patriots and Chiefs game too, where there was a roughing the passer, and it was like a hit to the helmet or whatever by the Chiefs player to Brady, and he completely missed Brady's helmet, and it was called.
Yep.
You know, and that had an impact on the game.
Definitely. Man, I'm feeling kind of old here, because I don't know if I want more interruption on that level.
But we're saying how there's ways to do it without doing it. If you give them coaches just like one more challenge, it's not going to make the game so much longer. Like, I don't think it'll have that much of an impact on. Well, I think as people are saying, because people are making out to be like, oh, now you're going to be able to challenge every single replay, and after every play, it's going to be delayed, and they're going to have to look at it. It's like, no, just give them another option, something to challenge, and do it the same way that you've done things before.
Yeah, I guess my biggest concern isn't that it will slow the game down or that they will be stopping it all the time. It will be that these challenges will be used like as weapons, so they basically would strategize knowing that they would be able to take a play away 3 times a game, and that would concern me, because then you lose the think about how many touchdown catches Randy Moss would have overturned if you could throw a flag and be like, pretty sure he pushed off there, and then you watch it in slow motion, you're like, okay.
He's also held on every play too, probably. But yeah.
But you get what I'm saying, though, is that you could, because then you're putting a ref in a position to be like, well, what penalty do we call here?
Well, that's why you only give a team like 1 or 2 of those specific types of challenges, and not.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So it's just they would be like divvied up, where you have your normal regular challenges, and then you have these special ones where it's like you need to go and see if there was pass interference on this.
Yeah, because they always show the replays on the jumbotron. So
they do, yeah.
A coach can see what happens right away. Mm-hmm. That's why everyone was freaking out in the Superdome yesterday, because they all saw it, and so I think it can work. I think
try
they should
this
give it a shot, because there's technology. That's one thing I agree with Sean Payton afterwards. We have all this technology, and
it's true.
It's kind of like you look at some of the stuff baseball's doing, where it's still kind of barbaric, and they're like, oh, it's part of the game, but like.
At what cost?
You could make it better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's totally it. And now if you take a step back, it's like, well, should we look at it on camera? It's like we're still using chains and dudes and eyeballs to figure out if it's a first down or not. Like, we could really make some improvements that way.
But in basketball,
I hear what you're saying.
In basketball, you can review if it's like a flagrant 1 or 2. You can look at that on replay. And
that's true. College football, they check targeting to see if it's actually targeting and confirm.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
In hockey, do they review like penalties?
They review goals and
slashing.
Stuff,
Well, I know that, but I don't know if they reviewed like slashing or something like that, or if they just
that's a great question. I don't know if they do or not. I'm not. Although I live in Minnesota, I am not a hockey guy.
That's surprising.
So yeah, it's.
Aren't you born like with a stick in your hand?
Yeah, you would. No.
Doesn't everyone have a frozen lake in their backyard?
See, like I did though. That part is true. Where like I didn't have a lake in my backyard, but I definitely like went to ponds and played hockey when I was growing up. So I guess kind of. But do you think that? With the penalty talk, do you think that maybe this is all squashed if we change the pass interference to 15 yards, maybe even 20 yards, but if you stop making it a spot foul? And because I think the biggest issue is people look at it not as, oh, that's an egregious foul. They look at that like that's 40-some yards that they were going to get for free or however.
Yeah, because you look at guys like Brady and Rodgers who just chuck it down the field because they know that there's a great chance they can get interference.
Yeah. And I think honestly, if you were asking me like what is my least favorite part about the NFL right now, it's that. It's that a lot of offenses can operate on just pass interference.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that aspect. There's aspects of the NFL and college that I like are different, and I don't know. That's a tough one. I really wouldn't care either way, actually, if they took it away or not, because then it doesn't become an advantage for guys like Rodgers and Brady. They actually have to, look downfield instead of
complete passes instead of just getting penalties. Yeah, I mean, it's a novel concept. You mentioned differences between college and NFL. One of those big noticeable differences, overtime rules. We saw in the AFC Championship game, the NFL, or how do I want to say it, the ugliness of the NFL overtime rules, even though they were just changed, kind of reared their heads because Kansas City never touched the ball in overtime. Yeah. How do you feel about the overtime rules? Do you think they should change? Do you have an issue with them? Or is that... Because a lot of people I've talked to about it have kind of the I like it. It's the NFL. It's different. It's win the coin toss. But where are you at with it?
I kind of like... I heard this or saw this or whatever today where, the new rules would be fine. They're fine for the regular season. But I think maybe in the playoffs, to make sure that each team has a shot. Mm-hmm. And even if the other team scores a touchdown, then the other offense gets a shot. They know they have to score a touchdown or they lose. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one thing that maybe let's just do for the playoffs, just to make it fair. Like in the regular season, whatever, just they can have ties, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. So why are we even discussing it for the regular season? I agree with you completely. I think Matt Caller on 1500 today nailed it, where he was like, "We're playing these games not to figure out who can correctly call a coin flip. We're playing these games to figure out who the best football team is. And if one team doesn't touch the ball in overtime, it's not doing that."
Yeah, because you look at a guy like Mahomes who was on fire in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. You think that they wouldn't have been able to march down the field and tie up the game? No. Yeah. And then after, if they tie the game, then whatever. Then the next points scored wins. But yeah, it doesn't seem right to have a game like that was so entertaining to watch,
and so back and forth for most of it, and then to not give a guy a chance.
And with a coin flip. Yeah. I mean, obviously the Chiefs defense, they could have played better, but I think if you ask a lot of people, they would have loved to see Mahomes get the ball back in his hands and try and come back.
I think it was Kevin Seifert that tweeted that, statistically speaking, it was 8 out of 9 times the team that wins the coin toss wins the game in overtime. Yeah, and that just doesn't seem, are we really deciding at that point why even play it? Just flip the coin and call it and then have that be the end of the game.
That's 2009. The Saints, they got the ball. And
I totally forgot that was an overtime game, to be honest with you.
Yep. Well, somebody threw an interception.
Yeah, and that, I mean, yeah. Do you... I'm getting depressed. All of these old playoff failures are getting drudged up again. How many times
did they show highlights of the Saints and the Vikings in 2009 yesterday? It seemed like every quarter or every time they could get a chance, be like, "This is the last time the Saints won the NFC Championship," and of course it was just the Vikings losing.
It's really making me sad. It's really bumming me out. The other day they played it on the NFL Network. All the radio station I was listening to was watching it and commenting and acting like it was happening in real time. It was really bummed me out, and they aren't in the playoffs to make any nice memories. Although it is nice to have the Minneapolis Miracle sound bites. I don't know. It just is making me sad. But did you ever say, does it make you feel better that this is happening to the Saints? Karma-wise, is it taking any of the pain away from this? Because I don't think it's taking the pain away from me, but I am enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it, yeah. But it's been 10 years, so I've kind of been able to recover.
I'm able to go about my daily business.
After a couple of years, I'm able to look back on and just reflect without getting too upset. Look at stuff like the 41 donut game, and I don't think anyone will.
Dude, 41 donut isn't even a blip on my radar these days.
I don't think, but 98 though, I don't know. I don't think anyone will ever be able to get over that. Just the way that team just seemed destined. That team was different. Yeah.
I think that's why it hurts.
And I even saw people yesterday that were like, "Oh, if they beat the Falcons, they wouldn't beat the Broncos." And I'm like, "Yes, they would have."
That garbage.
What?
They
the
totally
best
would have
offense in the league wouldn't have beat the Broncos? Come on.
Come on. Moving on to Vikings news. They hired, reportedly, new special teams guy. Do you know how to say his name? Because I don't, and I'm going to screw it all up.
Let me see it real quick.
Marwan Maalouf.
Sure.
Marwan Maalouf.
Yeah, he was an assistant special teams coach with the Dolphins, I think since like 2013. And then before that, he was with the Colts, the Ravens, and the Browns. So he's been in the league for a while, mostly special teams. So I think he knows a little bit about that area of the roster. And I posted a tweet a little bit ago about how the Dolphins kickers the past 2 seasons have made like 90% of their field goals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then in that same time period, the Vikings have made 77%. So yeah, so
you can't make
so hopefully he can bring. He wasn't the top, he wasn't the head special teams guy with the Dolphins, but hopefully he, can bring some of that knowledge over to the Vikings and help them in that area and all the other areas too. So we'll see.
I mean,
it's not Prefer, so this is the guy. He's going to have a lot of eyes on him.
A lot of eyes.
He can, cure the Vikings kicking woes. He might become Mike Zimmer's new best friend. But so
he may become the new best friend to everybody in Minnesota.
Yeah.
We on this podcast, we do a lot of scrutinizing of the special teams and kicking and punting. It wasn't really a well thought out direction, but we tend to do that.
No kicks missed yesterday, by the way. No kicks missed yesterday at all.
57 yards in overtime away.
Clearly, the Vikings are not playing.
Dude, how do we get that? How do we get kickers that can do that? It would have been good from 70. They keep
lots of kickers, free agents this year. Vinatieri, Robbie Gould,
oh my God! If they get Adam Vinatieri, I will cry.
Said he wants to play.
Number 1 choice, Vinatieri. Number 2 choice, Janikowski, if he's healthy.
He got
Number 2 is Janikowski. Did you see his performances last year, Adam?
It wasn't amazing.
It was much better than what we've seen here.
But if he's getting hurt doing his job, I don't know.
That was one game, Adam. That was one game. And on top of that, we all got to witness a drop kick onside kick attempt. So you should be thanking Sebastian Janikowski that happened. So
I mean, it was pretty bad. So
the whole thing was terrible. Yeah, man. Seriously though, Vinatieri. If we can have Vinatieri kick here,
I mean, he is
Super Bowl
he's like the definition of clutch kicker.
Mm-hmm.
So.
He invented the term clutch kicker. He is the logo of clutch kicking.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. Other coaching, I guess news is maybe not the right way to put this, but I'm very excited to discuss this with you. Recently, a certain former Viking wide receiver expressed a possible interest in being a wide receiver coach for the Vikings.
Yep.
Randy Moss is his name.
Oh, yeah.
You may have heard of him. I'm going to make this a couple different parts to this question because I think this is kind of layered and we love talking about Randy Moss on this podcast. So let's give it hell here. A, do you think he'll be good at this? Do you think coaching is something he will be good at? I'm not sure because he was so GD talented and just faster than everybody and could jump higher than everybody. I don't know if that translates real well to is he going to tell Diggs nah, dude, just play when you want? That's what it worked out pretty well.
Actually, a lot more than that. He watched a lot of film on opposing defensive backs, to just figure out where their habits and stuff like that. I think Bill Belichick has called him the smartest wide receiver he's ever, had on his team. So he's a very smart
I'm glad that you know that. I'm glad that you are a Randy Moss fan enough to know.
Yeah, it's not just he can jump out of the gym or whatever and he runs a 4.40. There's a lot of guys that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows he's a film junkie. You watch him on ESPN. He even throws some technical terms in there, and I think there's interviews like last year with him and Adam Thielen and them breaking down stuff like that. So
yep, I wouldn't have believed it until he started working on ESPN, and then I actually saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's true. He actually is.
Yeah,
I will say this though, I understand the hesitation from people, because you have to remember that this. And now, before I say this, I just want to get out there. I love Randy Moss. He was my favorite player on my favorite team for a very long time, so I don't mean this negatively. I mean, I do mean it negatively, also, but I still like the dude.
A star wide receiver.
Star wide receiver. He destroyed seasons for this football team. He was like a malcontent. He was a serious, like, he taught me what amazing football players look like, but he also taught me what the, like, diva professional athlete looked like.
Yeah, he had his moments, but he also, I feel like they're kind of more on the Odell spectrum of the scale, where he's super competitive, so he gets frustrated. But most of the time, none of that stuff was off the field. He wasn't in the news for beating his wife or driving drunk or anything like that. It was just...
No, that's true. Well, I mean...
Gets frustrated by all the million quarterbacks he had to play with in the Vikings who don't know how to get him the ball.
That I can't argue with. I bet he was frustrated by that. But he did, like, hit the, like, parking attendant with his car the one time, and then he also talked a bunch of smack about the catering the one time. I mean, that was kind of on the field, but kind of not on the field.
We don't... With that story, I don't know if anyone probably knows, 100% of the truth besides Moss and the parking attendant, because he could have maybe just, like, tapped her or whatever, and she freaked out. Because, sometimes that happens.
It does happen, and I'm not saying that he wouldn't be good. I'm just saying I get how people are hesitant, because when you think Randy Moss and you're a Vikings fan, those are some of the memories that pop up. Like, there are a lot of good memories, but there are also a lot of kind of gnarly, weird,
angry, I mean, you can look back on some of those too and just sort of laugh, because look at, like, how few I feel like of those there are compared to how much good he did on the field from a
performance standpoint. 100%. And I also think that you have to take into account that he was, in his early to mid 20s and a millionaire, and kind of had life by the,
he's always been
the horns, and so what are you gonna do? Yeah, man. So there was a little ego attached to that. Of course there was. And now he's a little bit older, a little bit more mature, understands what it takes. I would not be disappointed if they hired him. What do you think the actual chances of him being a wide receiver coach for the Vikings this year?
Very low.
Very low, right? Like, I would love it.
I would love it, yeah. But, I think, obviously, Zimmer, being that he's got a lot of pressure on him going into next year, he probably doesn't want to take a chance on some guy who's never been a wide receivers coach. Not saying that he couldn't be good at it, because he could, maybe in the future. But it's just not the right time for that to happen. Maybe if Zimmer gets an extension, maybe that would happen.
Yeah.
I'd also, just be a little skeptical of Moss is not one to not be outspoken about certain things. So, there could be some, and Zimmer isn't either. So.
That's what I was going to say is this really the year that Zimmer's going to want his wide receiver coach to have a weekly media session? Yeah. I don't know if this is the year that's going to happen. Because he'd get it. Because Randy Moss would get it. That would happen. They'd change everything, and that would be.
But I don't want to just dismiss the fact that, because he has such freakish skills or athletic abilities, that he wouldn't be a good receivers coach, because he has a lot of football knowledge that I don't think people realize. And just like, I was going to teach someone to jump 30 feet in the air. I can't do that.
Yes. Well, and that to me it's very easy to form a quick opinion, because he said, I only play when I want to, and because there are all these other things. It's easy to look at that and be like, he didn't. Yeah. But if you want to get the straight info on what Randy Moss did, go watch some interviews with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady for when they played with him. It's amazing the way they talk about him. And they've seen a lot of guys. They've seen a lot of good football players. And they talk about Randy Moss like he's right up there with one of the best. Yeah. And not just talent-wise, but in the like you said, the film junkies. And
pretty sure Tom Brady had the best season of his career when Moss was his receiver. So.
I believe so. I believe that is correct.
Yeah, that's a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they just happened to didn't win a Super Bowl though.
No.
Speaking of other coaches, former coaches, John DeFilippo, even though he got fired. And
did we talk about? I wasn't sure if we talked about.
I can't remember if we did or not. I wrote it down because I did the same thing. I was like, I don't know if we touched on this or not. Is it interesting to you? And maybe we said this last week. Is it interesting to you that he's going to coach a team whose literally their best option is their running back who doesn't really know if he wants to play for them anymore?
Yeah.
Does this feel like Blake Bortles? That offense is a good situation for John DeFilippo.
He's not going to be there. I don't think Bortles is going to be there. He's way too much, and they don't have any cap room at all.
But isn't that the play though? Is bringing DeFilippo in was to try and get Nick Foles because Nick Foles is possibly going to be available, and that's the connection. So that's maybe what they're thinking. That makes a little bit more sense. But if you're gonna go with Bortles and Fournette and have DeFilippo as your OC,
at the same time, it's a weird hire because DeFilippo loves to call lots and lots of pass plays, and I feel like Doug Marrone likes to run the ball a lot, especially when you have a guy like Leonard Fournette and your quarterback is someone like Blake Bortles. Maybe it was because they had Blake Bortles that they ran so much, and maybe it would be different if they had a guy like Nick Foles in there. But I just don't understand how a team can hire DeFilippo after he really hasn't been successful as a play caller. And so now you're going to, Doug Marrone, he's probably on the hot seat next year. Mm-hmm. You're going to hire him to control your offense and possibly get you fired?
Man, these last two off seasons have just been incredible to me. The hype machine that has been created about these coaching moves and coaching candidates. It's DeFilippo is a great example. When he got hired, it was looking great. Everything was looking good. Yeah, but now you kind of take a step back and you look at okay, well, what is his actual resume? And it's totally not successful on this team, not successful on this team. Kind of successful as the quarterbacks coach for Philly.
How much successful
is it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How much did he have to do with that?
Yeah. And so, how did we not see that this was happening? Meanwhile, this offseason, people like Cliff Kingsbury is getting hired. This LaFleur character who...
Well, Sean McVay breathed on them. So.
That's what I'm saying. And so these teams are, staking their entire, literally, their 3 to 4 year next windows on guys who have no experience and no resume to speak of, or is lackluster at best. Cliff Kingsbury, what is a head coach? How did he fail up, dude? What?
He failed in college.
Yeah, and then got fired, and then got an NFL head coaching job. How does that happen? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I feel like we should, as Vikings fans, we should maybe be kind of thanking our lucky stars that we made that bad hire, figured it out before the season was over, and got it over with already. So now these other,
we'll give him another shot.
Yeah, we could maybe be the team. Maybe if we just let him do what he wants, he won't pass the ball 40 times a game. Good luck. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Now they have the Kubiaks in there. They have a track record of, well, at least Gary Kubiak has a track record of being successful and winning Super Bowls and. Running successful run offenses and pass offenses. So,
do you use the best thing I've heard about Kubiak? Matt Schaub. He made Matt Schaub look like a world beater for a hot minute there.
Brian Griese.
Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
God, did he make Brock Osweiler a lot of money. Sheesh Louise.
Yep.
I'm very excited about the Kubiaks being involved this year. I wasn't so sure about it right away, but now that I've had a little bit of time to digest it and see where it's at, get a little bit more information, feels like it's going to be a very successful.
And a lot of people are, I feel still oh well, there's too many cooks in the kitchen or whatever, and what if Stefanski and Kubiak, can't get along? And I look at Stefanski and his kind of personality that we've seen in his rare press conferences. That he just doesn't seem like that kind of guy where very confrontational or not willing to hear other ideas, where with DeFilippo it kind of seemed like
it did kind of seem like that.
This is what we're going to do, we're going to do this and this and this, I'm going to do all these explosive plays and get guys out there and just no.
No. It seemed overconfident to me early on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of discussion where it was like, man, he carries himself like a head coach. And now that seems like, well, maybe he should have been a little more humble, listened to some of the stuff that some of the coaches with more experience around him were telling him to do. Perhaps
also,
he wouldn't have lost his job.
Kind of hoping that DiFilippo isn't successful in Jacksonville, because that won't look too good for Mike Zimmer.
No, it will not. Are you where? The more I look at this past season, the more I look at some of the moves that have been made, the harder it is for me to be all in on thinking Zimmer is definitely 100% the way to go here. There's a little doubt creeping into my mind.
For the future?
For the future.
Well, I think that's fair.
I like him. I want him to be the coach going forward. I want the success to continue. But I'm starting to see cracks in the armor. I'm starting to see different weird things that before I wasn't really seeing.
I think you have to look at also what are the other options. He's pretty good coach. They've been a competitive team every season he's been here. Mm-hmm. Even when Adrian Peterson was suspended for the whole year, they were still competitive.
And if that's your floor, isn't that, as a fan base, isn't that what we want? Yeah.
That's what you want each year. You want to be competitive. You want your team to be in every game. And I feel like pretty much every week they are.
Yeah.
They have some slip-ups. Every team does. Mm-hmm. But they're not, a 3-win team or a 4-win team. They haven't had any of those seasons. They've been competitive every year. I know some people get sick of that and they're like, well, we need a Super Bowl. Well, look at Andy Reid and what he does every year with his teams and what he did in Philadelphia. And they were like, oh, nope, sorry, we don't want you. And then he's gone. He goes to Kansas City and does the same thing.
Yeah, because he's a good coach and that's what they do. I think the worst thing that fan bases do is get apathetic and bored with consistent winning, where you never win a championship. Right now in Minnesota, the hockey team, the Wild, is like this, where they make the playoffs every year and are competitive every year, but they're probably not going to win a Stanley Cup.
They're the Bengals.
And that's a great example of it. Because with the Bengals, for that many years, then you let Marvin Lewis go, and then you're like, okay, now we got to redo this. I think that's what the Vikings should do with Mike Zimmer. You should give him a long time. Because the way he does this, you're going to be consistently good. You're going to be consistently in the playoff mix. And then you get lucky for a few games. Maybe not luck, but you pop up for a few games. You could win a Super Bowl in this league.
Yeah.
You could
people
win a championship.
People look at, McVay, and he's already in a Super Bowl in his third season. That doesn't happen often. That's rare. He's lucky to even be there. He had to have certain things go their way for him to be there. It's not taken away from his success and what they've been able to do, but stuff like that doesn't happen very often. No. And they could get in the Super Bowl, they could lose, and he could never get back there again. Mm-hmm. So
this is the fun thing that people do now.
There's 32 teams.
Yes, and they take the smallest sample size, and they're and don't get me wrong, I love watching Pat Mahomes play football. I love it. I love it. But if you're going to tell me that for a fact that he's going to be in this same ball game the next 10 years, you're bonkers. You have no idea that that's what's going on.
Dan Marino.
That's exactly it.
He went to a Super Bowl, I think, his second year in the league, and then never got to another. Never. I'm sure people back then were like, "Oh, he's got a bright future. He's going to be in 6 Super Bowls."
We'll go to a bunch of them. Yeah, he was a high pick. He's our guy. He's a quarterback. He ain't going anywhere. We're going to be fine. Wow.
And what the Patriots are doing is just ridiculous. That is not supposed to happen.
It makes me sad. I found myself angry about it.
Everyone is.
And I know, and I'm trying to figure out why. What don't I like about this? It's because it's 18 years, Adam. Yeah. It's 18 years we've been doing this. My hatred for the New England Patriots can legally buy cigarettes now.
I want them to win just so Brady and Belichick retire.
Oh my God.
I'm going to be rooting for the Patriots so Brady and Belichick can retire, and then finally we can have something different.
Can you imagine how much fun it's going to be that first year? It's going to be like when Jordan retired. It's just all bets are off. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be so fun.
Well, they don't even have Garoppolo anymore, so definitely would be interesting.
God, it'll be so bleeping great. I can't wait. I almost swore. Yeah, I'm pretty sick of New England. I'll go there. But
having the expectations of if he's not, we haven't gone to the Super Bowl, in his first 5 years, and they should look elsewhere.
Yeah,
even though the Vikings have gone to the NFC Championship, they've won 2 division titles. When you look at before, Mike Tice and Brad Childress and Leslie Frazier, like if you get rid of Zimmer, you could have another 10 years like that.
Yeah. Well, and we should thank our lucky stars that the bad stretches that we've had recently have not been very long. Like, they're in the grand scheme of things. Because we could realistically, if we had different owners for this team, we could be the Browns. Like, we could just be god-awful and consistently swinging and missing on quarterbacks. Now that I'm saying that out loud, it doesn't sound that much different than what Cleveland has been doing. Maybe some more wins, but no, I'm joking, but we should be thankful that they are this good with Mike Zimmer. And I think he is the dude going forward. If they start off like 0-3 next year, you think he gets canned? Or do you think they'll wait it out?
No. I don't think.
The Wilfs give me hope. The Wilfs seem to admire the Steelers ownership. They seem to admire Bengals ownership. They seem to want consistency.
They're from New York. They grew up Giants fans, so they grew up with Parcells there and stuff like that. So, they're not. They love Zimmer too. Like,
how could you not if you were the owner of the team and they gave you this kind of result every year in, year out? Oh, my quarterback's knee fell off, still made the playoffs. Yeah, he's doing all this.
With Mike Zimmer, you go into every season thinking you have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You get a new guy in there, it's like maybe we'll make the playoffs, maybe not.
We don't know. But with Zimmer, you know that the defense is going to be pretty goddamn good, and that's going to keep you in games, and that's going to keep you competitive for the playoffs. It's not rocket science.
He's dealt with so many just unlucky circumstances, and people are just acting like nothing has happened each season. Like just normal season, just going along. No one died or anything. No one had eye surgery. Nobody's leg almost fell off.
Yeah.
Nobody got suspended for a whole year.
Yeah.
Nobody had to go to the hospital for a mental health evaluation. Like all these things that just aren't supposed to happen every year. And it's way different than people just getting hurt. It's like, injuries are part of the game. That's not even
way more than that. That's exactly right. And I've said this on this program before. The year they win the Super Bowl is the year they just don't have a catastrophe.
It's so boring.
It's just going to be, we're going to have nothing to talk about. It's going to be 25-minute podcasts the entire year, and they're going to win the Super Bowl, and we're not going to know what to say because there was nothing that happened.
Yeah, I think he'll have an extension probably before the season begins. So even if it's just like 1 year, because I don't think it's fair for him to go in with 1 year left on his deal.
Were you surprised that are you surprised that it's been this long? Like he's heading into this season on a lame duck contract, basically. Isn't Spielman as well in the same boat with the 1 year left? That feels weird that they're doing that. I don't like that.
No, I think it's probably getting talked about more just because of what happened this season. But I don't think it would have been that much of an issue if they made the playoffs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they might have to wait until the new league year begins or whatever.
Oh, great point. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. You're totally right.
Which is in March.
Mm-hmm.
So they might have to wait until then to sign him to an extension. I don't know how the coaching stuff works like with that, if they have to wait. But I think...
Oh, no, they can't have to wait because everybody's hiring coaches now.
Yeah,
I think extensions would be cool. I don't know how that works, but you might be right. There might be some goofy rule that prevents them from doing that until maybe their contract doesn't run out.
Maybe Zimmer's like, hey, you know what? Just hold off on me. If we don't get the playoffs, I don't deserve another year. So
don't say that. We don't need that.
He's getting up there in age. So.
I can't have Mike Zimmer retire.
Was that the rumors that he was going to retire?
All of those reasons that you just specified. I don't want somebody else. I don't want to not know what.
I'd love to see the 10-year challenge for him. He probably looks like a child compared to what he looks like now. 5 years as a head coach.
Yeah, dude, just these years. It's just incredible, the list of things that he has had to deal with. Yeah, man, 1 year without any catastrophes. I think it would really, really do this team and him a lot of good.
When is the last time that even happened for the Vikings?
That's a great question. A long time ago, I think. Honestly, it was probably like the 3 and whatever season.
Yeah. First ever season.
Okay. Next up is Rudolph. Nobody calls him Rudy. Kyle Rudolph. Yeah, I just wrote it, but I don't know. Kyle Rudolph won the Twitter contest for the Walter
Payton. He did go to Notre Dame.
Man of the Year. He did. It's true. Yeah, he did. A little bit bigger. Definitely on scholarship.
Yeah.
A little bit different story.
Wait a little more.
So he wins this. Real quick, I think everything that Kyle Rudolph does for this community is absolutely incredible. I hope he wins the thing. I think he's very deserving. I'm sure you've seen the video. I've watched it. I've cried. Not afraid to say it. It's very emotional. Letters. Yeah, it's awesome. Like, it's so cool what he's doing. Period.
He didn't even know that was coming when they were recording him.
Oh, yeah, it was so good.
They just told him, can you just come in, do a little video segment or whatever? And they're like, oh, here's all these letters.
Here are these letters from people that you've touched.
Here's some tissues.
It's so good. It's an amazing video and totally like a tearjerker. But I swear to God, Adam, if I have to see another tweet with 15 of those WPOMY hashtag whatever, it's ruining my feed, man.
So it's over now, though. They don't have to do that anymore, because that was the whole campaign. This wasn't the award. This was the charity challenge or whatever. Whoever player, whichever nominee gets the most of those, gets an extra $25,000 for their charity. Some people got confused yesterday. I had to double check too to make sure that this wasn't the actual Walter Payton Man of the Year award, because even the Vikings players were like, "Oh, congrats, Rudy, on your Walter Payton, you won." But it's not. That'll be revealed, I think, February, the day before the Super Bowl at the NFL Honors or whatever. But I think he has a good chance to win, at least.
I think so too. I'm very glad that money went to that whatever. I'm glad they retweeted and won it. But
yeah,
that wasn't even the contest. He didn't even win the thing. I mean, they won the thing, but he didn't even win the thing.
Not the award. Yeah, that's just the extra.
Oh my gosh!
But just so you know, they're not gonna keep doing it or whatever. Well, if people are, they're stupid.
The tweets are done. So now anybody that tweets this after today, I can mute without mute or block without any. Oh, it was terrible. I have to go back. That reminds me. I have to go back and unmute the people who I muted, because they're not bad people. I just got really, really tired of seeing the same retweets over and over again. And good on you, Vikings fans, for winning the contest and getting the money. Love it, but hate it on my Twitter.
Apparently, Minnesota fans are in full force with online voting lately, because Derrick Rose is in the starting lineup for the All-Stars this year.
He deserves it.
Over Harden?
Yep, he deserves it. I didn't understand that one. I don't know if he just has enough fans all over, or because he was an MVP at one point, so he was a very popular player.
It's a good story
there. Yeah. But
kind of when Yao
can't just be Minnesota.
Yeah, that's when Yao Ming would always get those votes, because the whole country of China would vote for him.
More people.
Yeah.
Or the Yankees always having the most All-Stars, because New Yorkers are always.
Yeah.
God dang Yankees.
Yeah, man. Minnesota, can't say Minnesota fans don't, get behind their players. That's for sure.
They definitely do that.
Unless, it's Laquan Treadwell. Oh, I didn't even write this down that we should talk about this, but do you follow Laquan Treadwell on Instagram? Because you should. It's just for entertainment value.
Gonna now. Yep. Don't, but going to now.
I think last week he posted a video of just him talking to the camera or whatever, and I'm gonna swear here, just so you know, saying that he's the shit, and if you don't think that, then I don't know what to tell you, because he's the shit.
I truly I am.
And then he posted a little later him watching highlights of himself from high school. Yeah. I told you, it's very entertaining.
I am so jealous
of people with that much confidence.
I can't handle it. I wish to God I possessed even a small portion of that kind of confidence. So I'll tell you what, Adam,
Well,
talk about stuff on the internet, but I'm not that confident when it comes to the rest of my outside life. You know, it's hard for me to...
I don't even know if that's confidence. I think that's just like oblivious.
Crazy, like delusion, maybe? Delusional, perhaps?
Adrian Peterson syndrome, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's another one, too, who is just kind of living on his own. I bet he also watches highlight videos of himself in his free time, for sure. Honestly, that's the way we grade it. We should... Every new Vikings player should be... How many times have you watched your highlight video?
Do you think Adam Thielen's ever watched highlights of himself?
You know, I
purposefully,
I have a tough time believing that he
searched his name on YouTube. And
Stefon Diggs, you think he's sat around watching the Minneapolis Miracle? Probably not. Maybe the Minneapolis Miracle, though.
Not that one, but
that one doesn't count.
Like a highlight video that someone puts together. They always have those on YouTube or whatever.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of those on YouTube now. It's a little bit different. So that was how he was watching it. He was just on YouTube.
Yeah.
Laquan Treadwell watching Laquan Treadwell on YouTube. Wow, dude. Yeah. Where do you think he ends up? Like, who takes a chance on that guy? I mean, he's like physically he's a beast, so you got to imagine somebody.
The Giants. Go with Pat Shurmur. I mean, Pat Shurmur might actually not even want him because he knows.
That's what I was going to say, because he's seen it. He's seen enough to know. Oh no, he's going to Oakland.
Raiders.
Yeah, we've discussed this already. He's going to Oakland, and I'm excited for that, actually. I'm excited for the white gloves, and I feel like it's going to be good for him.
What, for like a 7th-round pick to be determined later?
I can't even...
Pick to be determined later?
If that GM, if Mike Mayock, right, is the GM there now, if he gives up literally anything to get that player, he should be fired on the spot.
It's a good trade for the Vikings.
You should get him out of there, because that's a bad trade. But you watch Spielman, he'll flip that.
I was going to say, if Spielman trades Treadwell and he gets like a 4th-round pick, you get Spielman like a 5-year extension right there.
Mm-hmm. Immediately.
Yeah.
Guys selling ketchup popsicles to...
I had to let you know
wearing white gloves,
because I was just like, is this guy serious?
It's amazing to me that he believes that he's the shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit.
At the same time, not amazing.
It's incredible. Let's talk a little bit about trading Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about... I'm totally dismissing this as no thank you, not at all. I'm not interested. Are you on the same wavelength as I am on that? Could you get a lot for him? Probably.
Yeah, who's going to be the number 1 corner? Trey Wayne?
Yeah.
Holden Hill?
I think
second year?
Honest to God, I think that's the argument as well. They got Holden Hill and they got
Mike Hughes coming off an ACL.
And Trey Waynes to be there. And that's not enough for
Holden
me.
Hill, yeah, he did look good during his rookie year. Mm-hmm. He was also covering the other team's 3rd and 4th receivers. Mm-hmm. So you want him to cover Julio Jones, Antonio Brown,
Odell Beckham.
I don't think that's going to work out very well.
I don't want to do that.
I'm not saying he can't get there one day.
Mm-hmm. And I think I honest to God believe he will be right on that same level, because that's what Mike Zimmer does. That's what he does.
Especially with Mike Zimmer teaching him. Yes, he can probably get there one day. But
I don't think we should.
Trey Waynes, what was last year, this season or whatever, the first season where you really didn't worry about him, giving up huge plays?
Basically, yeah. It was the first year that I was okay with him. Yeah.
And so you want him to take a chance on him being your number 1 corner? I don't think so.
It's a very risky proposition. I don't think I would be, especially when you have Rhodes on your roster right now.
Xavier Rhodes,
got to stick with him.
He's also still did pretty well last year. He still allowed like a lesser catch percentage than guys like Josh Norman and AJ Bouye or whatever from the Jaguars or whatever.
Dude, sorry, there just is like a spaceship taking off next to me right now. Good God. Like, there's always trains going by, but that was like the loudest train in the history of trains. Yeah. It's amazing that when you look at fans do this regularly, you get an all-pro. He's consistently at all-pro level, and then he has one down year, and they're like, get rid of him because he's not.
It wasn't even like that down of a year, and people were like, oh, yeah. It
wasn't all-pro level.
He had 12 penalties. He has like 10 penalties every year. So let's not act like that's something new.
And remember, when he got here, he was the guy that they put the boxing gloves on. Was he not? Yeah. So, like, It
is kind of weird. He actually was like the most targeted cornerback of all the Vikings cornerbacks last year. So I think people were just taking more of a chance on going after him. But I think, you give him an offseason to heal and stuff like that. People also complain about that, like his health or whatever. Like, oh, he's never healthy. And it's like, he missed, 2 games last year?
Like he's always healthy, but he always like misses the one game. And here's the other thing: is people are like, he's never on the field when they score the touchdown. It's like they're throwing at him because he's not on the field. That's why that play. But you want to trade him so that can just be the squad.
Yeah, and he still has like
no thanks
3 or 4 years left on his deal. What team's trading for that contract? Teams don't trade for players with that much left on their contract. Not that much on their contract. They'll trade for like a year, maybe 2 years left on their deal. Mm-hmm. But no, like I've seen that a lot where they're like, oh, they should trade Xavier Rhodes now. His value's like as high as it can be. What if he has another bad year? Then they can't trade him at all. And it's like, well, they shouldn't trade him at all anyway.
That should never have been the plan. Yeah, that sounds great, man. No issues on this end.
Also, you're going to convince Mike Zimmer that it's a good idea to trade away his number one corner?
That was exactly. And you're talking about an angry coach who always talks about needing more defensive backs, and you're going to trade the best one that we have so that you can fix the offensive line. FOH, bro. Yep. Not happening. Real quick, because I kind of am maybe holding these two in the same dismissed category, but I want to discuss this with you because I could maybe get into a longer discussion. This is a little sample. If we like what we're talking about, then we'll bring it up again next week in bigger detail. Picking at 18.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Vikings going with Kyler Murray? Should he be available?
Get out of here.
You put him in okay, because I put that's why I brought it up, Adam, was because I'm putting it in the same trade roads, draft him at 8.
They have 2 years. They have 2 years with Kirk Cousins, no matter what. That's it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to. The money does come into a factor. I'm sorry, like you're not going to bench a quarterback who's making $30 million a year. Mm-hmm. If he's playing horrible, yes, bench him. But going into each of the next 2 seasons, he's their quarterback.
Do you think that drafting him and then letting him sit for 2 years, and then Kirk Cousins being gone, and then Kyler Murray coming in and taking over?
I don't think drafting him a quarterback in the first round or drafting a quarterback in the 4th or 5th round is really that much of a difference if you're going to sit them for 2 years.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. Okay,
so I don't mind if they draft a quarterback. I don't mind if they do that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You just put it in perfect terms.
Yeah, I don't see the reason of spending a first round pick when you have much greater needs.
Yeah, because you basically, although Kyler Murray,
when you could get another corner.
Yeah. Kyler Murray might be good, but you have exactly the same amount of proof that he's going to be great as you do some rando 4th rounder from Richmond.
He's also had one good college season.
Yeah.
That's it.
And could also go play baseball if he doesn't like what you're doing with him.
The Big 12.
We've seen how that. Okay, Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield had what? He had 2 good seasons though.
He did. So. That's true. And Baker Mayfield.
And he's kind of gone up, and he's come up he's worked his way to where he is. Like he went up from junior college. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're talking about super athlete Kyler Murray here, who's drafted in baseball and signed a contract and drafted in with this. I just don't think that's why I put it in the same
Also, dude, why don't you go play baseball? Like, why are you going to play football and ruin your brain?
That part I don't understand. I think
and also like more money. Isn't there more money in baseball? More guaranteed money, at least?
Probably more guaranteed money in baseball over the long term, but I also think part of his thing is this one I'm a rock star tomorrow, this one I have to go ride the bus and get pooped on for like 4 years before I get up there. I have to be a normal dude before. So that I could understand being...
Maybe not, because... People know his name, so they could call him up just for like ticket sales.
That's true. And he it's the A's though. They might not do that. But anyways, he's got options. I don't think it's the right option for the Vikings. That's the point I was trying. I'm glad we did that little sample talk. We'll maybe do that more in the future so we can figure out stuff that we just don't need to bring up because it's pointless, and I don't think we need to spend more than literally 3 minutes.
Yeah, I wrote an article about not trading Rhodes last week, and when I put it in our Slack channel or whatever, Adam Carlson was like, wait, that's like people are actually
That's the thing people are discussing?
Like, oh yeah.
Unfortunately, it is. Oh my. Yeah, I just can't. I can't get into it. I don't think you should trade him. I think that
it's
also this offseason, we have to remember it's the offseason.
Lots of hot takes.
Lots of hot takes that
it's just getting started.
Just getting started. And remember, guys, we don't have to listen to all of them. We can just do that sometimes. We can be like, I'm not interested in that. Let's not discuss it.
Yeah.
That's the thing
we can do.
It's okay to do that.
We're also just people who write about that stuff, myself included. We're just trying to give people stuff to talk about, think about that maybe they might not have thought of, drafting a quarterback in the first round. That's not something that I would do if I was the Vikings, but, it's something that somebody else might be interested in and would like to, read into and find out if it's the right, decision. I don't even think there are that many quarterbacks available or like graded with a first round grade this year. There's like 2 or 3, I feel like.
And I think that was part of the reason that people went so bananas over the quarterback class last year, was because they knew that this year was going to be a down year. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever you just said, Adam, suck it, terrible take. That was like my Twitter response to.
Yeah.
Because it feels like that's usually how it works, is you write is this something they should maybe do? People are like, horrible take, kill yourself.
Yeah.
Jump off a mountain.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
That's called the internet. That's the internet.
It sure is. All right, bud. Well, I will talk to you next week.
Yeah. After the Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl. God, I can't wait to break down.
Thielen in there. Danielle Hunter. Who else? Just a couple other guys, right?
Thielen.
Harrison Smith.
Yep, Harrison Smith. I think so. Did Rhodes didn't make it this year?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm not surprised by that. He had an off year.
Mike Remmers didn't make it.
Mike Remmers didn't make it either. What about Khalil?
No.
No.
I think C.J. Ham is an alternate.
Okay. That's good. How is Zach Line doing these days? Kind of Madden game. Saw him playing for the Vikings. I was like, whatever happened to that guy? After
he was on the Saints.
Talked a bunch of smack. Yeah, he can get out of my life.
See, the thing about the Saints, though, I was like kind of coming around the corner, like kind of like not rooting for them, but like
not hating them.
They're kind of entertaining. Teddy's on there, so I'm like, all right, whatever. And then yesterday happened, and I'm like, nope.
Still hate him.
Still hate him.
Doing the dance in the living room about it. That's what happened.
Did you see after the Rams got the interception in overtime, the guy doing the bike dance that Teddy's been doing in the locker room? Great.
All right. Good place there. That was good.
Yeah.
Talk to you next week. Skol Vikes.
Okay.
Get some sleep.
Skol.